We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You can get those at betterwater.com. There's a lot of reasons why you might want a water filter, quite a few. Mason knows the most important, though.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
It's a reason. BetterWater.com. We got a lot to talk about today, and I'm excited for you guys to be here. No matter how you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, the FM dial. If you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble, hello, how are you? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I got a lot of kids to feed, and that helps. The biggest story of the day, James Comey being indicted. Woo! Feels good, man. Feels good. And it feels good for many conservatives who, like me at times, have felt blackpilled on the lack of accountability. And it does seem like the tide is turning, and I'm grateful for that. I do believe that Comey's going to go down for this. And before we even get started, you're already seeing the Democrats freaking out. Senate Democrats yesterday were announcing that they're going to be bringing new legislation. They're going to legislation, to combat what's going on with James Comey. Richard Blumenthal was on CNN saying, I'm going to seek legislation. We're formulating it right now. Okay. Cool. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see your failed legislation. We also had Blumenthal warning Republicans. This one got me. Warning Republicans that when Democrats regain power, this could happen to them. Oh, no.
The old saying, what comes around goes around. Mm-hmm. You know, today it's a Republican president, but degrading the democracy and ruining, literally perverting the great ethos and tradition of the Department of Justice, where I was in awe when I walked through those halls as a federal prosecutor. I think it's time for Republican colleagues to say enough is enough, and we are going to push them and do it hard.
What goes around comes around. Do these guys, do all of them have amnesia about what happened the last 4 years? Every single one of them, what goes around, we know. You guys went after us as hard as you could. We understand that. It's like when they say this stuff, what goes around comes around. It's like they forget that pictures like this even exist. If you're watching on the stream, it's the Georgia mugshots where, what was it, like 19 conservatives up to and including President Trump, all brought in, all indicted. Do they forget? Oh, what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. That's what's happening right now. That's what you're seeing. Except the difference is we actually have you on some crimes. The crime being currently lying to Congress. And I don't know if you recall, but it's been confirmed that this exchange between James Comey and Ted Cruz in, what year was it, 2020. This is the exchange that Comey is now being indicted for. I'm going to play it in its entirety. It's about a minute and 50 seconds, but I want you to hear it.
On May 3rd, 2017, in this committee, Chairman Grassley asked you point blank, quote, have you ever been an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation? You responded under oath, quote, never. He then asked you, quote, have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton administration? You responded again under oath, no. Now, as you know, Mr. McCabe, who works for you, has publicly and repeatedly stated that he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal and that you were directly aware of it and that you directly authorized it. Now, what Mr. McCabe is saying and what you testified to this committee cannot both be true. One or the other is false.
Exactly.
Who's telling the truth?
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
So your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak. And Mr. McCabe, if he says contrary, is not telling the truth. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
All right, I'm going to make a final point because my time has expired. This investigation of the president was corrupt. The FBI and the Department of Justice were politicized and weaponized. And in my opinion, there are only two possibilities: that you were deliberately corrupt or woefully incompetent.
That could be a combo of
both. You were
both.
incompetent.
It could be a combo.
This has done severe damage to the professionals and the honorable men and women at the FBI because law enforcement should not be used as a political weapon. And
That's Ted Cruz. That's the exchange between Comey and Cruz that got us the indictment that we saw handed down yesterday. So let's look into the indictment, okay? I have the full indictment here. It's not that long. It's what, like I would say once you get rid of the junk at the top, it's really only a page long. But we'll put it on the screen for you because as people are going to be talking about this, it's important that you have all the information. On or about September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant, James B. Comey Jr., did willfully and knowingly make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement in a matter within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the government of the United States by falsely stating to U.S. Senator during a Judiciary Committee hearing that he, James B. Comey, had not authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in a news report regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1. I do have a bit of a problem with FBI leadership authorizing anonymous sources, but I guess we'll table that for another day. The statement was false because, as James B. Comey Jr. then and there knew, he in fact had authorized Person 3 to serve as an anonymous source in news reports regarding an FBI investigation concerning Person 1, all in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 1001A2. On or about September 30th, 2020, in the Eastern District of Virginia, the defendant, James B. Comey Jr., did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper exercise of the power of inquiry under which an investigation was being had before the Senate Judiciary Committee by making false and misleading statements before that committee, all in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 1505. That's it. That's the indictment. We got you lying. It's been proven. Shout out to Andy McCabe. Sold you right up the river. James Comey's very upset. He delivered a statement via social media. A statement that can only be classified as, well, stunning and brave. I think that's how I'd classify it. You tell me how you would classify it. This is James Comey really looking like he's in a hostage video. If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you'll see it. He looks like he hasn't slept much. Hasn't been going for walks for seashells lately. But this is his statement.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
Here we go. Here we go with the bovine scatology.
Stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave. This is what happens when you stand up to the orange dictator. You understand that, right? The Emperor Trump.
But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid.
Oh, stunning and brave. You know what this needs? Mason, I think you know what this needs. More than anything else, this needs sad violin. We'll just bring it back to the top. You hit the sad violin and we'll roll.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid, and I hope you're not either. I hope instead you are engaged, you are paying attention, and you will vote like your beloved country depends upon it, which it does. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
I think this fits a little more.
Oh, it's so good. So good. What's the old saying about doing something and then finding out? You know?
I believe it's F around.
Effing around. Is that what it is?
F around.
F around and find out.
Find out.
Poor James.
Oh.
Jimmy, no.
Poor boy.
Whew.
Poor boy.
It's a good day. It's a good day. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm excited. I love the salt. Have you seen the salt? So I don't know if you guys know this, but when I'm not doing the hosting duties, I'm a professional salt miner, and there's a lot of salt to mine. Business is good. Business has been good. This is Ken Delanian on MSNBC with Jen Psaki, who she's beside herself. If you're watching on the stream, she's very upset. And Ken Delanian is he's from Fusion, and he says, well, I'll just let you listen.
That is a watershed. That is a line that we have crossed now in this country. And Republicans are going to say, Jen, well, wait a second. Didn't the Biden administration do that? Didn't the FBI go after Donald Trump? That was completely different. That had no resemblance to what happened here with James Comey. Those were investigations based on the facts and the law, pursued by career FBI agents and career prosecutors overseen by a special counsel, totally walled off by any of the political leadership in the Biden administration.
Sure.
Millions of Republicans do not believe this, and that is one of the reasons we are where we are. But it is a fact. And this, what happened with Comey is so much different.
So different. Put me in the group of millions of Republicans that don't agree that there were any facts or any basis in those cases against Trump and his administration, just on any level. It was politically motivated. But I will agree a little bit. Believe it or not, he said this is completely different. This is completely different. And I will say, yes, it is, because Comey was allowed to turn himself in. You see, Donald Trump, Roger Stone, even to a lesser extent Navarro and Bannon, they were all gagged. They weren't allowed to make statements during their court cases. I don't know why we can get stunning and brave videos from James Comey's, but they were raided, humiliated at 6 a.m. They were tipped off in Roger Stone's case. CNN was tipped off that the raid was going to be happening, so they were there with their cameras. What a happy little coincidence. Yeah, these are very different things. Very different things. Comey, he can walk in on his own terms. He can just stroll in at his leisure. He can deliver speeches. The media is going to cheer him. They're going to have his back. Mainstream media all day is going to be talking about the tyrant that is Donald J. Trump. And what we know is there's still two systems of justice. Even with the accountability, you can look at this and say there's still two systems of justice. One for the deep state's enemies and one for its protectors. And the protectors get to roll in on their own accord. The protectors don't get the 6 a.m. raid. Should have been even earlier for Comey. Kash Patel released a statement. And Kash Patel, I mean, the FBI has a lot of cleaning up to do. This is just part of it. He said this yesterday. Today, your FBI took another step in its promise of full accountability. For far too long, previous corrupt leadership and their enablers weaponized federal law enforcement, damaging once proud institutions and severely eroding public trust. Every day, we continue to fight to earn that trust back, and under my leadership, the FBI will confront the problem head on. Nowhere was this politicization of law enforcement more blatant than during the Russiagate hoax, a disgraceful chapter in history we continue to investigate and expose. Everyone, especially those in positions of power, will be held to account no matter their perch. No one is above the law. That was Kash Patel. He also released another statement this morning via X, doubling down on what he just released yesterday, saying career FBI agents, intel analysts, and staff led the investigation into Comey and others. They called the balls and strikes and will continue to do so. The widely false accusations attacking this FBI for the politicization of law enforcement comes from the same bankrupt media that sold the world on Russiagate. It's hypocrisy on steroids. Their baseless objections tell us now more than ever that we are precisely over the target and will remain on mission until completion. Thank you to this brave FBI. Mission first. America flag emoji. Heck yeah. I'm big hype. You feeling good? This is how we roll into the weekend.
Let's go.
And there could be more indictments coming. We'll talk about that on the way. We'll get more reaction as well. Pam Bondi weighed in on the indictment of James Comey. Donald Trump weighed in twice. He's actually just got caught on camera giving some comments about James Comey. I'll bring you those on the way as well. Plus, we'll talk about John Solomon and what he thinks is coming from the Comey indictment, and more accountability on the way. A lot to get to, a little bit of time. If you want to join the show, 615-737-9986. That's the phone number to call. That's the text line. Angry Liberals, front of the line. Front of the line. You can also find us on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We appreciate it when you do so. We'll be back in a couple minutes. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for United Structural Systems. You know them as USS, and I got a few questions to ask you. Are your floors sagging? Are cracks showing up in the drywall? Do you have doors in your house, like a closet door, coat closet door? It's just not shutting right? Listen, these aren't small problems. These are warning signs. These are red flags, and a solid foundation is the backbone of a strong home. And when that starts to weaken, the issue only gets worse with time. And if you're seeing those red flags, those are signs that it could be less strong than you need it to be. So I stand behind United Structural Systems. These guys have been doing the work since 1994, keeping Tennessee homes dry, stable, and secure, the way it should be. USS uses American-made adjustable steel supports built to last and backed with a transferable warranty. From I-beams to custom crawl space repairs, they fix it right the first time. So when it comes to home repair, don't kick the can down the road anymore. Call the people I trust, USS today, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or you can find them online, USSTN.com. So Trump announced today he's federalizing DC police to put an end to violent crime in Washington, D.C. Naturally, leftists are losing their mind and completely unhinged.
We believe there is a better way to protect us all. One that respects rights to build trust and keep our communities truly safe, and that is fascism-free.
Free of what?
That is fascism-free.
Fascism-free? Fascism-free. Oh, okay, hang on one second. Hey, Brooks, come here. F-A-S-C-I-S-M.
Fascism?
Correct, fascism. I didn't mean to turn this into an ad for homeschooling versus public schooling, yet here we are.
Maybe she should have proofread that.
Coming up, there may be a deal that would stop the war in Gaza and see the hostages returned. We'll tell you what we know about that. Also, why a woman was dragged off an airplane at BNA. Coming up here at 10 o'clock. I make that at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's a very early tease.
Just pushing right on with the day.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom, just really itching. She's working for the weekend. She's ready to get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
We get it. We get it. We like you being around, though, Joan.
That's nice.
Yep. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, 927. Donald Trump, but he was boarding Marine One moments ago. I think he's going to the Ryder Cup. I believe that's what he's doing.
He is. He's leaving with Kai, his granddaughter.
Oh, all right. Cool. Well, he was asked about James Comey. Maybe you've heard of him. He said, more indictments will be coming.
Comey has been indicted. Who is the next person on your list in this retribution?
It's not a list, but I think there'll be others. I mean, they're corrupt. These were corrupt, radical left Democrats. Because Comey essentially was he was worse than a Democrat. I would say the Democrats are better than Comey. But no, there'll be others. Look,
That's a hell of a statement. I'd say the Democrats are better than Comey. Whew. That's a hot take.
That's a hot take.
That's a spicy one.
Oh.
There's no list. There will be others. Comey is worse than Democrats. He kept going.
That's my opinion. They weaponized the Justice Department like nobody in history. What they've done is terrible. And so I hope there are others, because you can't let this happen to a country.
Will you appoint a permanent U.S. attorney to try this case? Lindsey Halligan has never tried a case.
We'll see, but it's a pretty easy case because, look, he lied. You saw my truth today. He lied. It was yes, no. He didn't say, well, in my opinion, he didn't do a lot of things that maybe he should have, but I don't think he could because he lied. That was a very important question that he was asked, and he wanted to be specific, but he didn't. The only thing that happened to him, he didn't think he'd get caught.
Facts. President Trump there mentioned his Truth Social post this morning. He said, "You've seen my truth this morning." I'll read it for you. It's on the screen if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. Whether you like corrupt James Comey or not, and I can't imagine too many people liking him, he lied. It's not a complex lie. It's a very simple but important one. There is no way he can explain his way out of it. He's a dirty cop and always has been. But he was just assigned as crooked Joe Biden. He was just assigned a crooked Joe Biden judge. So he's off to a very good start. Nevertheless, words are words, and he wasn't hedging or in dispute. He was very positive. There was no doubt in his mind about what he said or meant by saying it. He left himself zero margin of error on a big and important answer to a question. He just got unexpectedly caught. James Dirty Cop Comey was a destroyer of lives. He knew exactly what he was saying, and that it was a very serious and far-reaching lie for which a very big price must be paid. He also went a little bit further, and the press asked him if he would be worried about being indicted when Democrats get back into power.
President Trump, are you worried now that the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration?
Are you worried, sir? Are you worried about when the Democrats get in power? We'll bring you Donald Trump's answer when we get back. Right now, it's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones with the headlines.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And moments ago, President Trump said that there may be a deal on Gaza to include the release of the remaining hostages. He made those comments while departing the White House with his granddaughter, Kai. They're on their way to the Ryder Cup this morning. Reporters failed to ask any follow-up questions about that, so we'll have to wait on the details of any deal to be released. Now, one reporter also asked the president about the prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey and whether or not it is revenge.
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people.
And President Trump also calling Comey a dirty cop. Well, we may be seeing some cracks starting to form among Senate Democrats who have been claiming that they will not vote for a stopgap measure to keep the government running after October 1st. The Hill is reporting that Democrats have changed their tune a bit after President Trump threatened to not just furlough federal workers during a shutdown, but also to use that shutdown to permanently fire thousands of federal workers and reduce the federal workforce. President Trump accusing Democrats of trying to add funding to provide free health care to illegal immigrants to the Republican clean short-term funding bill. That's the latest news. We've got your weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hannon. I got to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It's the Busy Bee Best Prices of the Year event, and the savings are buzzing louder than ever. Right now, when you schedule any heating repair service, you get a free dryer vent cleaning. That's one more way Busy Bee keeps your hive safe and sound. Sorry, it's just I overloaded the script on bee puns, and I'm going to keep going because it's fun. Thinking about a new HVAC unit? Don't get stung by high prices anywhere else. Check out these deals. A Goodman 14.3 SEER 2-ton split heat pump, just $79.95 with a 10-year parts warranty and a 2-year labor warranty. Rude 14.3 SEER 2-ton 10-kilowatt heat kit, only $89.95, or upgrade to that Rude 16 SEER 2-ton for $99.95. And here's something as sweet as honey. September is National Grandparents' Day month. And Beehive Club members can gift a free Beehive membership to one set of grandparents. It's one way of Busy Bee honoring family values that hold this country together. And the buzz doesn't stop there. Plumbing specials are going on as well. $500 off water and drain repipes. $300 off tank to tankless water heaters. I got to ask you, what are you waiting for? Don't swarm around. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. It's 9:37, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch us, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Those are the big ones. Hit the share button. Every social media platform or digital device platform that you're listening or watching us on has a share button. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It really does help. So if you like truth and you like the information that we provide, not just me, but all the hosts on Super Talk, just hit that share button. If you do nothing else for us, that would be huge, and we appreciate it. Donald Trump, moments ago, he's about to get on the plane. He's going to the Ryder Cup, which I'm just going to be honest with you, and I don't care about the Ryder Cup. Watching golf on TV is overrated. I don't care what anybody thinks. It's probably the worst sport to watch on TV.
Golf is only fun when there's a tiny castle involved and I can hit it over the drawbridge.
Boom. Happy Gilmore.
Yes, sir.
The clown. Remember the clown?
Yep.
Or the only sports I think are really worth watching on TV right now is when you have two just dramatic Asian guys playing ping pong. Or
20 feet away from the table.
Or extreme balloon ball. I mentioned that during the cross with Dan Mandis. Both better than golf.
Yeah, easily.
So anyway.
Easily.
I don't care where he's going. I hope he's safe. Pray for his safety, especially given what we've seen with escalator gate at the UN and Secret Service cheering on the death of Charlie Kirk. We've seen a lot of weird stuff, not just in the past couple of weeks, but the past year with the president and his Secret Service details. So pray for his security. But before he gets on the plane, he's being asked questions about James Comey. And one of the big questions was, Sir, aren't you afraid that the Democrats can do this to you when they regain power? And it's just one of the just dumbest questions, because everyone knows they already did this. Now, the difference is they went after Donald Trump for anything and everything to try and nail him to the cross so that way he couldn't run for president in 2024. Their attempts failed. The biggest difference between what we saw with President Trump and what we're seeing with James Comey is they have Comey dead to rights. He lied to Congress. He deserves to be held accountable. This is it reminds, and I think that Comey's done a lot worse things than lying to Congress, but it's like Al Capone and getting him on tax evasion. I'm fine with it. And you know what? Even if he doesn't get found guilty, I'm still fine with it, because the process is the punishment. And I hope that they drag it out as long as humanly possible. I hope it's excruciating for him. I really do. I'm not vindictive or anything like that. Justice is the Lord's. But hey, a man can dream. So they asked President Trump, Sir, what happens when the Democrats regain power? First, you're operating from a standpoint that the Democrats are ever going to be regaining power, which I have a bit of a hard time comprehending. But this is President Trump and those questions that were asked just about 30 minutes ago.
President Trump, are you worried now that the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration?
That's what they tried to do, right? They did it with me. For 4 years, they went after me. They went after me for 4 years, and that doesn't include the 4 great years that we had in the White House. So when I ran it from 2016, when we won, it began before I got to office.
Yep.
You know that. Wait a minute. Before I came to office, I started hearing rumors about Russia. I said, what the hell do I have to do with Russia? Nothing. And then it got worse and worse, and some of the fakers, not you, but some of the fake news picked it up and they loved it. And we went through a long time with that. And despite that, we had a great first term.
Because that's how it went, where they made you go and take a mugshot. Is this more about justice, or is it about revenge?
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people, and they can't get away with it. And Comey was one of the people. He wasn't the biggest, but he's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it. And it's, as far as the case is concerned, he gave an answer. It was just.
Seems like it's going to be an open and shut case. Seems like the president is pretty confident about it. He says this is justice. This is what we've all been screaming about. We've all wanted to see this justice. And so many people I know personally have been blackpilled on the thought of getting justice for any of this stuff. Maybe this isn't as comprehensive as you wanted, but it's a start. It's a big start, and I'm excited about it. James Comey has been indicted. Wild. Pam Bondi weighing in on Twitter. And Pam, I'm not a huge fan, but I am glad that we're seeing some action here today. Saying no one is above the law. Today's indictment reflects the Department of Justice's commitment to holding those who abuse power Today's indictment reflects the Department of Justice's commitment to holding those who abuse positions of power accountable for the misleading of the American people. We will follow the facts in this case. That's Pam Bondi's statement. Donald Trump is excited about it. Morning Joe, they're melting down. They're not. Poor Joe Scarborough. He's having a tough time. And he's what he's doing is he's replacing. This is how Western Len's been on Twitter put it when he posted the clip. He said he's replacing Jimmy Kimmel as the new martyr for the left, and I think that's pretty good assessment. This is Joe Scarborough.
It bears repeating. You do this, you turn the person you hate into a martyr. You make them bigger than ever. You unite people behind them. Donald Trump understood this in his own political campaign, and yet he's now making Comey a martyr for the rule of law. That will be the first line in his obituary. That he was an FBI director, but that he became a martyr because a president said on social media to an attorney general, go and arrest this guy for the first time in our lifetime. And so now the world looks at James Comey and they see that he is a political and a legal martyr.
Theme of Friday.
This is the Friday theme.
I'm here for it.
James Comey's a political martyr. People are going to galvanize behind Jimmy Comey. Yep.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What does it sound like?
Shenanigans! Shenanigans!
Yep. Sounds like some bovine scatology.
Oh, for sure.
He's a political martyr. He's a martyr, I tell you. He's Woo! All right, it's a good day. It's a good day. Did anybody remember? James Comey talking about how he'd like to see Donald Trump in prison? Anybody? This is from June of 2024.
So a lot of people have suggested that there are a range of factors that would make it difficult to put a former. The system has not been tested in this way. Do you agree with that? That it would be difficult or nearly impossible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in actual jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said, from general population, but it's obviously doable.
So a lot of people have suggested...
It's obviously doable. He was gleeful. He was gleeful that Donald Trump would be going to prison. I'm a little gleeful. I hope James Comey goes to prison. I hope he goes to prison for a long time. He's just for the funniness of it. It's funny on a lot of levels. Maybe I'm a bit petty, but I know he'd be uncomfortable. Comey's 6'8", and that's not conducive to showering in a prison cell. I'll be honest with you. It's not exactly going to be comfy for him.
No, absolutely not.
No, I mean, how long are the bunks in prison?
The only way I could see it be comfortable is if he's in a padded cell.
Comey's toes are going to be hanging off the edge of the bunk. His head's going to be above the shower. He's going to be knocking his noggin on the doorways all the time.
You know what it makes me think of? It's that scene in Elf where Will Ferrell splashing the
nailed
shower
it. Yes. He's going to be Will Ferrell in Elf when he goes to federal prison. Golly, that's a good one. That's the visual we needed.
Oh, that's so good.
Then he's going to have some mean cellmate. He's going to sit on his lap.
All right, I'm finding pictures of this.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Sorry, there's the scene of Will Ferrell laying on the bed and his legs are just sprawled
That's what it's going to look like for James Comey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be on the bottom bunk, too. It's going to be on the bottom.
Yeah, he's probably the worst elf in Santa's workshop for sure.
100%. So,
in the yard.
I don't mean to be as gleeful as I am. John Solomon from Just the News joined Sean Hannity last night to talk about the indictment and bring some facts to the situation. This is how that exchange went down.
You're hearing tonight.
Well, listen, the key testimony against James Comey is going to come from his inner circle. One of the people that he trusted and ran the FBI alongside of will be the key witness saying, no, he authorized me to leak information contrary to what he testified to Congress. That's going to be a difficult case for James Comey to defend. I just want to step back. Yeah, well, it could be McCabe. It could be Daniel Ritchie. It could be James Baker. I keep an eye on James Baker. Remember the documents we had on your show a couple of weeks ago? All three of those are in position to testify they were authorized to leak. We'll see which one is person three when we in the indictment, but I would bet it's James Baker from what I know. The second thing that is just the pure magnitude of what happened today. 50 years ago this year, an attorney general was convicted for the first time in history of crimes. Tonight, for the first time in history, an FBI director is indicted on crimes, and both men face the same charges. False statements and obstruction of justice. It's an extraordinary moment, a grave moment, when a director of the FBI is accused of this level of criminality.
Your sources tonight are telling you what, John Solomon? What could be next?
I think other government officials are in danger of being indicted in the coming weeks, some in the FBI, some in other parts of the government. This is the beginning of a large accountability roundup in government. And I think what's really remarkable, most of my career I've spent uncovering FBI cover-ups. The FBI has a long history of misleading Congress. Comey falls into that. But the evidence against Comey tonight comes from the FBI and its new director, Kash Patel, who promised radical transparency, and he actually provides the key piece of evidence that leads to this indictment. If you're a member of Congress and you've been tired of being lied to by the FBI, tonight's the first time the FBI actually did something about it. They turned in their own man tonight. I think that's an extraordinary part of this story.
It's a huge part of the story. We do need to recognize the fact that the FBI is no longer protecting their own. If you're breaking the law, you're being corrupt, you're going to be held accountable. This is really just a huge white pill for the entire conservative community who's felt black-pilled, that there'd be no justice for anything. And we hear that more accountability could be coming. Not just for the libs, but for the neocon rhinos as well. We'll talk about that. Plus, we have the Trump administration taking aim now at not just left-wing terrorism, but the funders of left-wing terrorism. This was a big talking point yesterday, a lot, from several members of the Trump administration, up to and including President Trump himself. We'll bring you all that audio on the way. There's a lot to get to. Anything you want to talk about, 615-737-9986. You're also welcome to join us on YouTube and Rumble and jump in that live chat. We'd love to see your comments there. Hit like, hit subscribe. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Glock store. And if you haven't checked out the AccuShoot LFX Live Fire Simulator, today and tomorrow are your final days to do it. This brand new simulator is unbelievable. It's not some video game. The AccuShoot LFX is a live fire, fully interactive experience. You're going to be running drills against animated targets, timed, instantly scored, and it's going to show you real skills that you can actually use. Here's the kicker. If you're one of the top shooters every single day, well, you're going to win the daily prize. Walking away with gear like Real Avid gunsmithing tools, O-Sight, Red Dot Optics. And then when the week's done, you get the call, and maybe that call is going to be, hey, congratulations, you're the top shooter overall. If you get that phone call, you're winning the grand prize, a Daria DY9 pistol. And if you haven't heard of them yet, you will. You should Google it. They're really good-looking pistols. Here's how to get in. Set up your shooter profile at the Glock store. Pay just $10 plus ammo if you need it. Then you pick from one of 5 different drills, from mild to wild. And it's all happening now through Saturday the 27th, only at the Glock store, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, because training matters, freedom matters. And at the Glock store, you get both. Glockstore.com. Now, before you ask, I definitely voted for this.
Okay. They don't take Reese's or food stamps no more, no candy. So they went live when they said they're going to take out all the snacks. They're taking away all the snacks on EBT. What's the point of having it?
God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds.
Go on, get your butt to work if you want to get some fudge rounds. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The Reese, they didn't take the Reese out. Food stamps is more right now.
There may be a deal that would stop the war in Gaza and see the hostages returned, and why a woman was dragged off an airplane at BNA. That and more coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 9:57 on this Friday edition of the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Got a text here. We were talking about Comey's height and how it's not good in prison. Somebody said that the bunks are accommodating for people up to 6'6". So we were correct. His toes will be hanging off the edge.
Just a little bit.
I got another text here from Brian. What does it say? It says, if Comey drops the soap, the other inmates will have to take turns climbing on each other's shoulders. Ooh.
Oh, no.
That's get rid of that visual.
One. That's nasty.
That is a nasty one. That is, Brian.
I agree with
Clean
you.
it up. Clean it up next time, Brian.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joan. I don't need that visual either.
Is more accountability coming? CNN says yes. This time for mustache aficionado spokesperson John Bolton.
Ah.
You know how many mustache combs they found when they raided his house? It's too many. It's too many. No man should have that many. Senior Justice Department leaders are advocating for a charge against President Trump's former advisor turned critic, John Bolton, this week, according to two sources familiar with the investigation. I would love that. I would love to see some charges against John Bolton. While we're at it, how about Big Tish and Miss Fannie Willis? That'd be great. I'd like to see that as well. Maybe Merrick Garland. I mean, listen, we are hearing today, the news is breaking, more than 250 FBI informants in the crowd. FBI agents, in the crowd on January 6th. We all knew it. Everybody knew it. I mean, remember the videos where it'd be like some guy looking like a MAGA supporter in handcuffs, and they'd walk him to another part of the building, and then they take the handcuffs off and they fist bump? That's not weird. That's not weird. Maybe Merrick Garland could be held accountable. Remember this exchange with him and Thomas Massie?
It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago, when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol, and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were, or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again? That you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter.
I think you may have just perjured yourself. If we're doing perjury, Merrick Garland, come on down, brother. Let's go. I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling excited. It's a good way to go into the weekend. Isn't this a good way to go in the weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I love this episode of Wheel of Indictment.
Wheel of Indictment. Spin the wheel. No whammies, no whammies. Stop. All right, we got a lot more on the way. The administration, several members of the administration, up to and including President Trump, are also looking for accountability when it comes to the funders of domestic left-wing terrorism. We'll talk about it when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, President Trump took reporters by surprise this morning, saying that he believes there's a deal on Gaza that would end the war and get the hostages back. He was speaking with Marine One here in the background.
I feel like we have a deal on Gaza, and we'll let you know. I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace.
No real details here, but the deal may be based on one that President Trump spoke of yesterday that contains 21 points, including an Israeli withdrawal and the release of all the hostages. It also proposes a governing mechanism with armed personnel in Gaza without Hamas afterward. More on this as it becomes available today. Reports are saying that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered a large number of generals and admirals to return to the U.S. from their posts overseas and gather next Tuesday at a Marine base in Virginia. Now, that could potentially include hundreds of senior military leaders, and retired Army Lieutenant General Doug Lute says that would be unprecedented.
It's not unusual for one or two to be called back to Washington to consult on a specific issue. What's unprecedented is the scale of this assembly. That is senior officers, and by the way, their senior non-commissioned officer counterparts being called all at once back to meet with the secretary. That's unusual.
Why the meeting is being called has not been disclosed, but Luke believes that Hegseth is releasing a new national defense strategy. A family in Spring Hill has been left homeless after a housing scam. Sharniqua McLemore telling Channel 4 she and her family learned that the home they thought they were renting was a fake listing after receiving an application and paying the $775 deposit.
I never thought anything was off, and I guess what threw me off was because AMH is completely contactless. And everybody that I've talked to, you go do the contactless tours, you get a lease sent to you electronically, you sign and stuff like that. So I didn't think anything of it.
She says when the family tried to enter the home, they found a lock still on the door, and that's when they learned that listing was a fraud. A woman's been arrested after she declared she had a bomb while sitting on a Frontier Airlines airplane at Nashville International Airport. Kenyatta Dodson refused to leave her seat when asked by police, so video shows her being pulled out of the seat and off the plane. This happened on Tuesday. It wasn't even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. Metro Nashville police are saying that Dodson was, in their words, heavily intoxicated. That is the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We have CNN on in the studio. Thanks, Murphy. Matt Murphy leaves it on. But the mood from the CNN newsroom to the WTN Chris Hand show couldn't be more different. Wolf Blitzer doesn't look like he's having a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't look as happy as we are.
We've been having fun with this.
Energetic.
We've been having a good time. I wonder what's bothering him. He looks like he's constipated.
A little stocked up.
It does, right? That's.
Yeah.
He looks really upset.
Aw.
I'm here for it. I'm here for accountability. I'm looking forward to more accountability. Praying that we get more news today.
Oh, yeah.
This is. I mean, you have to look at the Truth Social post from last week where Trump called out Bondi on the lack of action and say that this is a direct result of it. And to that, I say, yep, and good. It has to be. Pam Bondi has been just sitting on her hands, and it seems like we haven't been able to get anything done. And it looks like now we're finally getting some stuff done. So I'm excited about it. Comey's vowed to fight back. Okay, fight. Go full Gino Bolso.
Fight.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep making fun of Gino. He was a nice enough guy while he was here.
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
It's the commercials that are getting me.
It's just funny.
The commercials are funny.
Just a little bit.
I don't think they were intentionally designed to be funny.
No.
But they've made me chuckle.
Just a little bit.
This is a little cringy.
Yeah, a little forced.
That just, all the ads are.
I mean, yeah, of course.
All of these ads for the special election that we have in Tennessee for Mark Green's seat have been just cringy. And like, I would just, everyone, all of the candidates have been cringy. MAGA Matt Van Epps. That's like, come on, what are we doing? Liberal D-bag Jody Barrett. Okay. Sorry. Everybody agrees with me, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't know. I've only been living in Tennessee since 2017. I cannot remember a political cycle with worse commercials.
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over.
Let's just get back to like the classics. It's like some Cars for Kids, you know?
Like, I haven't heard. I don't think they've been on our station.
I think they got busted doing like something shady.
No, don't do that.
There was a Cars for Kids conspiracy. There was.
It's KKC, right? Cars for Kids conspiracy.
The Cars for Kids conspiracy. Well, we should do it with a K because it's more fun. Do you think that would be frowned upon?
Maybe a little bit.
By management?
Yeah. That's why I'm asking after to make sure.
Okay. I mean, dude, there's definitely there's some controversy. Misleading ads and donor deception, high overhead and advertising costs, religious focus, hidden agenda claims. I don't know. Conspiracy theories. All right, here are the big ones. This is from Grok.
Uh-oh.
So you know it's right.
It's got to be.
The Cars for Kids conspiracy often amplifies real issues into exaggerated or bigoted narratives, especially on platforms like Reddit and X, formerly Twitter. Common theories include money laundering for Israel-Jewish causes. This is the second one's the one I've heard, though. Child trafficking and organ harvesting ties.
Oh, no.
Yep.
I thought they were donating cars, not kids.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
For cars.
And then there's, I didn't hear about,
Transformer
I've never heard about this one. Do they say like 9/11 involvement? I don't understand. I don't know that one. The only one I've heard is the child trafficking and organ harvesting.
Wow.
The internet's a dark place.
Yeah, can we Mandela effect that song never existed in our world?
My kids still sing it. I could ask them today and be like, play the hottest song we've ever played on WTN. They'd be like, 1877. Speaking of good music on WTN, next Tuesday we got Mary Cutter back in studio.
Let's go.
Mary Cutter, Devil Wore a Lab Coat. She's got a show coming to Nashville. She's actually on like a big tour right now. So she's going to be in studio next Tuesday, and we're going to give away some tickets to her concert.
Let's go.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a huge fan of Mary. She's like
awesome.
She's one of the sweetest ladies I've ever met. So we're excited to that. And I don't mean to get squirreled. How did we start? Why did you bring up the Cars for Kids conspiracy, Mason?
We were on CNN, constipation.
It was a natural. It was evolving.
It made sense.
It naturally evolved into a car. This is the
political ads.
Welcome to the Chris Ann Show. Just wait. We haven't even gotten to the foreskins yet.
Oh, no.
What?
Not again.
We talked about that earlier.
Did you really?
Yeah, Dan.
You brought it up again?
Dan brought it up.
Oh, okay.
Dan brought it up.
That's surprising.
I might talk about it in the lightning round. Might have to.
Might have to?
In the lightning round.
Oh.
So.
I might look. No, I don't look forward to talking about foreskins. Never mind. I'm going to retract that statement here.
You're using them in makeup. Like skin cream. Did you know that part?
No, I didn't.
You do now.
Did want to.
It's worth a Google.
Let's go back to talking about political ads.
That's how we got on this. That's how we got here. I'm
going to fight this conversation.
All right. All right. Is more accountability coming? That's what the people want to know. J.D. Vance yesterday taking a hard stance against individuals inciting or funding left-wing domestic terrorism, saying that there will be jail. People will go to jail for inciting this kind of stuff. He was on with Laura Ingraham last night. We've seen the rise in left-wing terrorism. Everybody knows about it. You got your head in the sand if you don't agree that this is happening at a crazy pace at the moment. But J.D. Vance says, no, we're not just going after the people committing these acts, but the people funding and inciting these acts as well.
People want to see someone go people go to jail for this.
Well, first of all, people will go to jail for this, but the President of the United States has made very clear we're taking a whole of government approach to this. We're looking at the funding networks. We're looking at the people who are inciting violence. We're looking at the people who are promoting and encouraging violence. That takes time to do it the right way, Laura. We're going to make sure that we do this the right way.
With First Amendment concerns.
Well, of course, you have to protect people's First Amendment rights. You have to protect people's free speech rights. But the First Amendment does not protect imminent incitements to violence. If you are actively promoting your fellow man to kill other people, that is not protected by the First Amendment, and we have to be clear about that. We have to go after that stuff. But
amen, we do, and we have to get tough. We had Ryan Morrow on the show just a couple days ago. I think it was last week we had Ryan Morrow on, and he's a great investigative journalist, and he discovered a bunch of links between George Soros, George Soros and the domestic terrorism that's happening, not just in our country, but terrorism happening around the globe. And he established clear links between Soros and these networks. If he can do that, I would imagine that the Department of Justice can do that. And yeah, there's something about free speech. There's something to be said there. But I think free speech stops when you turn into the brick fairy and you're dropping off pallets of bricks in major cities. That's just me. Maybe that's a unique opinion I have, but I would imagine you guys feel the same way. Scott Bessent also going hard against left-wing terror, saying that anyone who funds domestic terror organizations will be held accountable. This was Scott Bessent on Fox Business yesterday.
President Trump has declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, and anyone who is funding a domestic terrorist organization should know that you will be examined and you will be held accountable if you are funding or responsible for these riots, for this violence. This violence has to stop.
Amen. And I love going after them via the financials. Again, we mentioned it earlier in the show. James Comey, they got him on perjury. It reminds me, I think he's done a lot of shady stuff, but it reminds me of Al Capone on tax evasion charges. And listen, if we can go after these individuals via financial ties, let's do that. Let's make their lives as difficult as they've made our lives. Why not? J.D. Vance, though, he went a step farther and had a message for Democrats. Not just Democrats, but members of the media as well. This was J.D. Vance in that same interview with Laura Ingraham just yesterday.
Look in the mirror and stop this craziness, or you're going to get somebody killed. In fact, I think a lot of them already have gotten somebody killed, namely my friend Charlie Kirk and a number of other folks as well. If you look at, it's not just the Democrats, Laura, the media is participating in this. I saw a story on NBC News just a couple of days ago, right before the ICE shooting in Dallas, and they were effectively accusing ICE of mistreating a 5-year-old child. Now, it turned out that story was completely fake, but if you read that headline and you were a crazy person, I could see how that could incite you to violence. So
Absolutely. The media is influencing this. If the media says that they're kidnapping and disappearing 5-year-old kids, just like we've seen in the headlines, or they say they're targeting schools like we've seen in the headlines, yes, a crazy person is going to see that and think that I have to do something to stand up against this evil, these fascists, these dictators. Absolutely. We have to stop the Gestapo. We have to stop the Nazis. And they've been beating this drum for a decade. They've been doing this for a decade with Donald Trump and his administration. They've more recently broadened that horizon to ICE, labeling them the Gestapo as well. But when the media is complicit in this, the media should be held accountable as well.
I think in a lot of ways, the Democrats and the media, because they so hate the idea of a real border, are engaging in a kind of blood libel against ICE agents. They're accusing them of engaging in crimes. They're accusing them of being part of the Gestapo. They're actually inciting violence against our law enforcement. They know exactly what they're doing, and now it's time to stop. Now, the shooting of yesterday, it turns out that the people who were killed were actually detainees, not ICE agents. I'm obviously glad that ICE agents weren't killed in that attack, but saddened that these detainees were killed.
We all are. Now, last night, as I'm doing show prep, do you ever watch the Live Fox YouTube channel? I watch it occasionally, and they had a vigil. There was a vigil for the illegal aliens. They're so brainwashed by the media that leftists showed up to this vigil. It wasn't huge. It was like 30 people. And we pray for the victims. But the leftists that showed up to this vigil have been so brainwashed by the mainstream media that they were arguing with the news guy who was there on the scene, saying that the shooter was targeting the illegal aliens. I kid you not. Saying, no. ICE agents sign up for this job. I don't care about that. this individual was going after the illegal aliens. This is what we got. And this is after we know that the Dallas shooter left a note bragging that he wanted ICE agents to feel real terror. This is after we know that he was meticulously pre-planning this event. It wasn't a random, impulsive event. That's from FBI Director Kash Patel. We know that the shooter, Joshua Jean, just days before the assault, was looking up and searching Charlie Kirk videos. Not ones where he debated ideas, but ones where another radical leftist shot him in the throat. He was looking at ballistics info. He was tracking political violence online. We know that he had apps to track ICE agents. But this is how the media works in 2025. The individuals that showed up to this vigil last night for the illegal aliens were under the impression that the shooter was targeting the illegal aliens and not the ICE agents. It's crazy. People are insane. The media is 100% just as accountable for the kind of turmoil that the country's in right now because of the rhetoric that they've spewed, just as much as the politicians are accountable for what we're seeing with the rise in left-wing domestic terror because of the rhetoric that they spew. President Trump, he was given a press conference yesterday in the Oval Office. They were saving TikTok. They were saving TikTok. The short and skinny of the TikTok deal is that ByteDance is going to remain a 20% stakeholder, and then other companies, including Oracle's Larry Ellison, which is obviously going to upset some people online, are taking a majority stake. We'll talk about that. But President Trump also went in and signed a memo launching a full-fledged government response into radical leftist terrorism and their funders. These guys aren't going to be deterred. They're not going to be slowed down, and this administration is going to push forward. To every conservative out there who has felt blackpilled, I feel like what we're witnessing is the turning point where we're going to start seeing that accountability coming home. The chickens are coming back to roost, and so we'll see what happens. We'll keep you posted on all the latest. And when we return, I'll have all that audio from President Trump talking about the individuals funding left-wing violence, and he started mentioning individuals by name. We've heard George Soros' name thrown around quite a bit. President Trump brought up a few other individuals as well. We'll bring you the audio when we get back. It's 10:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res of Nashville. Now, I got 4 kids, 2 dogs. You can understand what my carpets go through. At times, it feels like a war zone. We've been dodging bullets lately because we haven't had baseball because of all the rain, but it looks like we're going to be back at the baseball field this weekend. And when the baseball field comes back, so does me telling the kids, take your cleats off before you get in the house, and so does the boys not listening to me, and they just run in and bring all that great baseball dirt right to our carpets. When that happens, it used to stress me out. Now I just call Zero Res. They use their exclusive ZR water. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue, which means the carpets and the upholstery aren't just going to look insanely clean. They're going to stay clean longer. Then the kids can lay on the floor. They can do all their things. I don't have to stress about what's in the fibers. It's not just carpets. They do air ducts, tile, rugs, upholstery, the works. Perfect if you need to clean up your house, if you're dealing with the things that I'm dealing with. A lot of people might not tell you this, but I'll tell you, your carpets are gross. They're awful, but they don't have to be that way. Call Zero Res of Nashville, 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376, ZeroResNashville.com.
A deal on Gaza? Perhaps. President Trump thinks it may be a done deal. And why a teacher on leave and under investigation is still getting paid. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 10:25. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you guys being here, however you may be here. Whether you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, tune into the FM dial, watching us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. We appreciate when you do so. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. We'll have a lot more digital clout if everybody in this listening area was to subscribe to the radio station, and that's going to just bring bigger things for WTN, not just for myself, but for all the great hosts that we have. Shout out to Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, Chad Benson. It really would. It would help every single show on the radio station. If you love what we do here, if you love the service that we provide, even if you don't watch YouTube, create an account and hit subscribe. If we just had 200 loyal listeners each create 15 YouTube profiles, that would be clutch. We're doing pretty good on the numbers, though. The YouTube channel's been growing, and we appreciate you guys helping us there. We really do. So we were talking about left-wing violence, the domestic terrorism that we've seen. It's been rising at a breakneck pace. It's getting a little scary out there. Not to the point where anybody's going to back down, slow down, or recoil. We're going to keep pushing and go even harder. But the administration is taking note of it. President Trump has taken note of it. And yesterday, while he was saving TikTok, he also signed a memo launching a full-fledged government response to the rise in left-wing terrorism. This happened yesterday inside the Oval Office.
So I believe it was in Oregon where you had a federal building where there were men in black ski masks who were committing acts of violence, who were shutting down a government building. To the president's point, they don't come from nowhere. These are paid people. This is organized. They're committing acts of political terrorism on American soil. And it's time we had a government that looked out for the American people rather than the people who are committing violence against the American people.
When you go out to Portland and you see what's happening in Portland, this is like nobody's ever seen anything like it. Every night, and this has gone on for years, they just burn the place down. And you know, the shop owners, most of them have left, but the few shops that are open, they just use plywood and just like 3/4-inch plywood. They don't put storefronts in because they know it's going to be burned down. These are professional agitators. Right. These are bad people, and they're paid a lot of money by rich people, some of whom we know. I'm sure I know some. I don't. If I knew, I wouldn't associate because I'll be in trouble because Pam will say, "Why are you associating with this person?"
Now, President Trump said some of them we know. Some of these funders we absolutely know. Again, this is while he's signing a memorandum on a memo of full-fledged government response into radical leftist terrorism and their funders. So President Trump says this, and then he starts naming names. And I love this. He brought up one, maybe you've heard of him, Reid Hoffman. He's the guy that founded LinkedIn and big Nikki Haley donor, mind you. But President Trump mentioned him by name. You have to imagine that the individuals being mentioned by President Trump by name when it comes to domestic left-wing violence are just shrinking in their seat. Like, oh no, accountability's coming.
But we're going to get out there and we're going to do a pretty big number of those people in Portland that are doing that. They're professional agitators and anarchists. They're actually anarchists. Yeah. Go ahead. Why don't you defend? Let's see you defend them, Jeff.
No, I'm not defending anyone. I just want so that we can just explain this in our stories.
You don't explain it right, though, Jeff. Go ahead. Let's go.
He said, can you give us some names so we can explain it in our stories? He's like, yeah, go ahead and defend him. You don't explain it the right way anyway.
So maybe let's give you another chance. Go ahead.
Antifa, Soros. What names are we talking about?
Well, Soros is a name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is a name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman.
Ooh.
Somebody's a pretty rich guy, I guess, and I hear about him. I don't know. Maybe could be him. Could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists. Really bad. Okay. Yeah, please.
If we find out more names, they're going to have some problems. He mentioned Reid Hoffman there. He also went on to mention George Soros before making the room bust out laughing when he mentioned a few other Democrats. You're going to want to hear this, especially what he said about one congressional rep from the state of Minnesota. I'll play that when we get back. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Moments ago, President Trump said there may be a deal on Gaza to include the release of the remaining hostages. He made those comments while departing the White House with his granddaughter Kai. They're on their way to the Ryder Cup golf tournament this morning. Reporters failed to ask any follow-up questions, though, so we'll have to wait on the details of any deal to be released. Meantime, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the United Nations General Assembly this morning, speaking about the effort to root out Hamas.
Netanyahu's absolutely adamant that there wouldn't be any wavering, wouldn't be any change of strategy, that all hostages, all 48, 20 of whom are still alive, should be released from Gaza, and that Israel will continue its military operation. I mean, he touted all the successes he said they'd had against the Houthis, but still saying that Hamas has to be dealt with.
ABC's Ian Pannell. Delegates from Muslim nations walked out before the start of Netanyahu's address. Back to the White House lawn now, and President Trump, a reporter also asked the president if the prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey is revenge.
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. It's also about the fact that you can't let this go on. They are sick, radical left people.
President Trump also calling Comey a dirty cop. Metro Nashville schools say they do not believe any students were involved in the child pornography a teacher's been charged with possessing. 28-year-old Alexander Donahoe was a teacher for students with special needs at Jerry Baxter Middle School. He admitted to police that he had been searching for child pornography on the internet and admitted to being sexually attracted to minors. He's on administrative leave. Paid administrative leave during this investigation. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
I'm Pastor Alan Jackson, and I'm excited to invite you to join me for my brand new show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8, I'll be talking about the week's news and headlines, but through a biblical lens. Together, we'll look at what's happening in our world and how God's Word can guide us through it. Join me, Pastor Alan Jackson, Sunday evenings at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And you can listen on iHeartRadio and tune in.
It's 10:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, you can get those at betterwater.com. You can join the show any way you want to. 615-737-9986. That's the phone number, and that's the text line number. Your calls are always welcome. You can also join us in the chats on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate it when you do so. President Trump, yesterday, he saved TikTok. Did you see that? Anybody? I'll be honest with you. I'm on the TikTok, but I don't scroll.
On the TikTok?
I'm on the TikTok, but I don't scroll. I don't do it.
Your thumb not work?
No, I'll upload something and then I just leave.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's such a rabbit hole of just nothingness.
I just put my things down and then I go.
What's really frustrating me is my TikTok has become just a sideshow of just selling stuff.
Yeah, I don't understand why do you have a store on TikTok? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like there are some cool stuff where I'm like, okay, I get it. That's cool, kitschy, whatever. And Instagram has ads too, but like every post that I see comes across, it's not an actual commercial. It's just somebody trying to sell stuff to make money. And I'm like, cool, this has lost the meaning of what it used to be, where it was haha funny videos. And now I just don't care.
All I get, I don't scroll TikTok. I'll go drop some content and then I'll leave. But you can find me there, Chris Hand on Air. But then I do scroll Instagram. President Trump saved TikTok, by the way. You know what I get on Instagram more than anything else lately? I'm just suggested Nick Fuentes videos left and right. Oh, and then the other night, this was, I don't know. I thought it was actually messed up. The ad that I got, and we'll talk about Nick Fuentes and YouTube and what Vivek Ramaswamy said. There was a reason why I brought that up. So just make a point. We'll talk about that later in the show, what Vivek said, which I thought was so on point. But here's what I got suggested ads for on Instagram. Bulletproof vests. I was like, this is dark. I am now the target audience for a bulletproof vest.
It listens to you day and night.
It's really, it's like, I showed my wife. I was like, I don't know if this is like really good or just like I should be like demoralized by this.
Or concerned on a heavy level.
Like, have you thought about buying a bulletproof vest? Damn, I have actually.
I actually have 4 in my cart right now.
My wife said, she's like, do you think we should get you one? I was like, I'm not going to say no. It would be cool. It would. Like, James O'Keefe is always rocking a bulletproof vest.
That's true.
James O'Keefe, though, goes on offense. And the only time they get mad at people is when they go on offense. There's a Charlie video that goes around, which I'm sure you've seen a bunch of Charlie Kirk videos. But they're like, there's very few conservatives that go on offense because by definition, we're conserving. Right? Like, by definition, it's like we're in a defensive posture. But you have conservatives that go on offense, and then you see the full weight of the U.S. government come down on them. Like you look at guys like Charlie Kirk, right? The FBI was investigating Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action while I was there during the 2024 election. We knew it. Everybody could feel it. We couldn't prove it at the time, but it's since been leaked. James O'Keefe goes on offense. And what happens to him? Well, a happy little accident occurs where they strip him, the board of directors strip him of the company that he created from the ground up, Project Veritas. Then you got guys like Donald Trump. He goes on offense, and what happens to him? Well, he's indicted, facing 700 years in prison. By the grace of God, none of that stuck. So Democrats will be crying today, and they'll be crying all weekend long. Get ready for it. They're going to try and make James Comey into a martyr of some sort. And it's going to be the big story on all the talking head shows until the next indictment comes down, which I hope comes down soon. But we're seeing this administration finally playing offense when it comes to criminal charges and accountability. I want to see this a lot more. They signed a memorandum yesterday while they were doing the TikTok stuff that was going to full-fledged government response to the funding of radical left domestic terrorism. He brought up Reid Hoffman, which I thought was rather eye-opening. He also brought up one George Soros. This was Donald Trump yesterday inside the Oval Office, and he's flanked by Vance, Bessent, Bondi, and Patel, as well as Stephen Miller.
Investigation, but everything's on the table right now.
I don't think anybody has to ask, because if you look at Soros, he's at the top of every. In fact, sometimes they say, could he be involved in this many things? But he's in every story that I read. Stories that I read keep talking about Soros, and So, I guess he'd be a likely candidate. Thank you very much, everybody.
George Soros would be a likely candidate. And again, we had Ryan Morrow on last week. He was also on the Charlie Kirk show. And Ryan Morrow had a bunch of links due to his investigation into George Soros and the Open Society Foundation, which you can find capitalresearch.org. But it was exclusive. Soros Open Society gave $80 million to pro-terror groups. This is fantastic reporting, just so you know. And the reporting was so good, and maybe I'm telling tales out of school, but it's gotten Ryan in trouble with quite a few people. They're actually the individuals that he does business with are upset that he did this reporting. Make that make sense. Since 2016, George Soros' Open Society Foundation, now run with his son Alex, has poured over $80 million into groups tied to terrorism or extremist violence. The evidence is stark. Open Society has sent millions of dollars into U.S.-based organizations that engage in direct actions that the FBI defines as domestic terrorism. These groups include the Center for Third World Organizing and its militant partner Ruckus Society, which trained activists in property destruction and sabotage during the 2020 riots. I'm not joking when I say George Soros is the brick fairy, and the pallets of bricks that showed up during the Summer of Love were a direct result of left-wing billionaires funding these riots. If you're a good Antifa member all year long, and you read your little anarchist cookbook and you place it under your pillow, you might get a visit from the Brick Fairy. You just might. They also dumped money into the Sunrise Movement, which endorsed the Antifa-linked Stop Cop City campaign in Georgia, in which activists currently face over 40 domestic terrorism charges and 60 racketeering indictments. At the same time, Open Society awarded $18 million to the Movement for Black Lives, a group that co-authored a radical guide that glorified Hamas's October 7th massacre and instructs activists in the use of false IDs, blockades, and economic disruption. That's just in America. That you can tie the Open Society Foundation to global terror outfits as well. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but if you want to see the reporting, I have tweeted out on my Twitter account at Chris Hand on Air. Just scroll down a little bit; it's all there for you to read. And Ryan wasn't exactly like the biggest sleuth. He just looked into where they were sending money. It's all public information. All of our law enforcement agencies can do this as well. I don't think that it's an accident that Donald Trump keeps bringing up George Soros. I think it's very deliberate. And I think that they know exactly what time it is. So we'll pray for justice there as well. President Trump also said that if these big blue cities can't get their crime under control, well, maybe they won't be able to get the World Cup games in their cities.
I think it's not. It's actually a very fair question. If I think it's not safe, we're going to move it out of that city. If, like, the governor of Illinois, who is, look, last week, between last week and the week before, 11 murders, and 38 people were shot. Then he gets up and he says, this is a very safe, and then he says crime is better. The reason crime is better is because Kash put, about 5 months ago, a whole team of FBI people there to get ready for when we go in, and they've lowered it a little bit, like 20, 25%, which isn't good enough, but it's a good start. But that was only put there because they're preparing for us to go in. And they've done, by the way, they've done a good job. So then Pritzker gets up, we've lowered crime 25. It's because the FBI was there. So, no, if any city we think is going to be even a little bit dangerous for the World Cup or for the Olympics, where they have Olympic overthrow, right? But for the World Cup in particular, because they're playing in so many cities, we won't allow it to go to, we'll move it around a little bit. But
I love that. And I love that he's going right after J.B. Pritzker into Illinois. Crime is down. Yeah, you're welcome. Actually, it's we've been placing FBI agents in your city. It's helping, believe it or not. Law enforcement, being allowed to do law enforcement things works. We also know that ICE, Border Patrol, National Guard has been staged in Chicago as well. Operation Midway Blitz. That continues. And in fact, they were pretty stunned the other day. U.S. Customs and Border Protection had boats on the Chicago River. On the Chicago River. I love this story. 4 armed U.S. Customs and Border Protection boats were spotted on the Chicago River Thursday, staging near Navy Pier, with Border Patrol Chief Michael W. Banks calling Chicago's mission as vital as anywhere else. On the same day, This is where they do the emotional manipulation. This is a local Fox 32 outlet, okay? On the same day, ICE detained a Chicago woman selling tamales in the back of the yards in the back of the yards neighborhood, according to her fiance. She was just selling tamales. Please, she was just selling tamales. Can't we have peace in this city? If J.B. Pritzker would allow ICE and Homeland Security to go into the jails to grab the illegal aliens, we wouldn't have to worry about anybody's abuela getting pinched for selling tamales. They would be focused on the gang members, the rapists, the murderers, the child rapists, the traffickers, the drug dealers. That's what they'd be focused on. But they don't let them in. It's a sanctuary city. It's a sanctuary state. So they're going to get anybody that they can. No tamale dealership will go unshaken until morale improves. But I like the boats. They were docked near the Chicago Harbor Lock to stage marine vessels at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers facility by Navy Pier. What we know. The Chicago Tribune states that 4 Customs and Border Protection boats were seen heading east on the Chicago River Thursday afternoon. The officials on the boats were reportedly armed. I love how why would you write that in? You understand that the Biden administration armed IRS officials, right? There was no hue and cry. But the Border Patrol agents are armed. Did you not see what happened in Dallas to ICE agents? Yes, I understand that the only individuals that were murdered, unalived, if you will, for the algorithm's sake, were illegal aliens. And we'll pray for them and their families. They shouldn't have been victims of senseless violence because of left-wing terror. But when you know that that's what's going on, yes, our ICE and Border Patrol agents do need to be armed and stay armed. They say U.S. Border Patrol Chief Michael W. Banks posted on X that he was in Chicago by saying, "Landed in Chicago. The mission here is as vital as anywhere else on the line. We will not allow criminal aliens to take root in our communities." Also on Thursday, a woman selling tamales was detained by ICE in the back of the yards neighborhood, her fiance told Fox 32. Immigration activists say enforcement activity is now concentrated in Chicago's back of the yards neighborhood, just down the street from where Murillo was detained. Witnesses told Fox 32 that ICE agents were also making arrests in the parking lot of a nearby Home Depot. Good. Again, while they say that they're disappearing people in the streets, they're kidnapping them, just remember, they could be getting the worst first inside these jail cells if any of these elected officials in any of these sanctuary cities or sanctuary states were responsible. But they're not. They're using this as a political tactic. Miss me with Miss Tamale and how she was detained. I don't care. That should be American jobs, selling tamales. Nothing beats the tamales at Trump Tower.
Oh yeah, classic. Real original.
What? You've heard that?
Yeah, I have.
The burrito bowls, remember that?
Yeah.
It's a throwback. It's an oldie but goodie.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
It's an oldie but goodie. Listen, they weren't just talking about tamales. You gotta turn your mic on.
What?
All right. So they're going to go after Soros. They're going to go after the funders of left-wing domestic terrorism. A lot more was said during this Oval Office press conference. A lot of questions being asked. Donald Trump never shies away from questions, but he had the entire room roaring laughing. And I think he even had some leftist reporters break character, being so angry and constipated and upset about tyranny. When he made this crack about Ilhan Omar, you have to hear it. He went after a couple of the Democrat politicians, Jasmine Crockett, Ilhan Omar, and more. We'll bring you what he said. I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't want to oversell this, but this may have been the funniest thing he's ever said. And I know it's a stretch. We've had some good ones. We've had some good ones. When he said, "I didn't know she was black," I thought that was hilarious. When he did the burrito bowl thing, hilarious. This one ranks up there. It's gold, and I'll bring it to you next. 10:51, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
All right, Clarksville, we got a crash reported 24 north eastbound there at the Sango Road overpass. So keep that in mind there. Then in Cheatham County, got a crash. It's on the left shoulder, but you got to get over 40 eastbound before Kingston Springs, Ashland City, exit 188. And Governor Lee just announced when the National Guard will be deployed to Memphis. That's coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Sorry, I was wrapping up a comment on Instagram.
Was it all caps?
No, I had to find the right GIF.
Oh, okay.
The Tennessean. I've been finding myself feeling like I got to get spicier in the comment section.
Oh, yeah?
So the Tennessean just posted about 57 minutes ago. Nashville Pride to host benefit concert to raise funds to save festival. There's a $250,000 budget shortfall, putting the future of its festival and parade at risk. There's going to be a Get Out and Get Loud benefit taking place on October 5th. And guys, get excited. Live music and drag shows.
Are they blaming anybody for the lack of funding?
Probably white people.
Let's hold a festival so we could save our festival.
Probably straight. Yeah, what is that? Yeah.
What is going on?
That doesn't make any sense. Sounds backwards. So I had to find the perfect eye roll. I was looking for the one from the WWF back in the day where it's The Rock.
Yeah.
He kind of does the eye roll and he like blows the cheeks and so I posted that. My favorite comment was the one right before mine where this guy said, "Who gives an F?" Yeah, I kind of hear you. All right. Sorry. I won't bring social media stuff on the air, but I'll try and stop. But find me on Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. And join me in the comments as I'm trying to get more spicy in the comments. President Trump, yesterday, he was asked about Jasmine Crockett. Maybe you've heard of her. And he decided to bring up another member of Congress, Ilhan Omar.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson. Between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, "I don't want her."
He called her Ilhan
Omar. He said, "I met the head of Somalia." I said, "Do you want to take her back?" He said, "We don't want her back."
Oh.
Hello, is this 911? I'd like to report an assault.
You can have her.
Nobody wants her.
Oh, my gosh.
It's 11 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Looks like we got a brand new crash to report for you. There's going to be Cedar Hill, Montgomery County, Highway 41A southbound right before Maxey Road. Well, Governor Lee just announced the National Guard will be deployed to Memphis starting next week. And he says it's part of the new Memphis Safe Task Force.
You know, Memphis is a world-class city. And before us, we have a generational opportunity to make Memphis a safe city.
Governor Lee standing there with the Memphis police chief and the Memphis mayor. Lee says the Guard will act as a, quote, force multiplier in a critical support role for the Memphis Police Department and Shelby County Sheriff's Department. Guardsmen will not be armed or make arrests at the beginning of the phased deployment, but Lee says that could change based on need. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy just announced an emergency rule restricting the eligibility of commercial truck driving licenses and permits to non-U.S. citizens and permanent residents.
The process for issuing these licenses is absolutely 100% broken. It has become a threat to public safety, and it is a national emergency that requires action right now.
Today's announcement comes after a crash in Florida where a commercial truck driver was accused of making an illegal turn, causing a crash that killed 3 people.
Non-citizens will not be eligible for a CDL unless they meet a much stricter set of rules. Second, all states must immediately pause the issuance of non-domiciled CDLs until they can comply with our new rules.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu touting his country's military resolve while speaking before the UN General Assembly today. Dozens of delegates walked out as Netanyahu stepped up to speak.
Many world leaders buckled. They buckled under the pressure of a biased media, radical Islamist constituencies, and anti-Semitic mobs.
Netanyahu pointing the finger at UN members who want to recognize Palestinian statehood. Former FBI Director James Comey facing an indictment from the federal government. Comey says he's innocent after getting charged with 2 counts of lying to the Senate Judiciary Committee in 2020. President Trump had been putting pressure on his new hand-picked U.S. attorney in Virginia to bring charges against Comey. ABC News legal contributor Dan Abrams says the new U.S. attorney Lindsay Halligan had no prosecutor sign on to the indictment with her.
She actually had to file this herself. Very unusual that the U.S. attorney doesn't have one of the line prosecutors signing off on this, working on this. She had to literally alter herself some of the language in court, which is very unusual and shows you that she's at this point kind of in this on her own.
Well, we'll see where it goes. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person. who I can't even believe is a congressperson, between her and Ilhan Omar. And the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
That's President Trump yesterday inside the Oval Office. He's saving TikTok and taking some jabs.
Just trolling, man.
Oh, we do a little bit of trolling. I can't believe he said that. It was so funny, but I actually believe that the interaction happened.
Probably.
I don't think he was lying. Like, I don't think so. I think that actually went down. I met the head of Somalia. Would you like Ilhan back? No, sir, we don't. I don't know why. It reminds me of this conversation I had with my Aunt Joyce. She's like the sweetest old lady that you can meet. She's wicked Boston. And I remember it being, she said, Chris, do they like us down there in Tennessee? And I said, no, they don't. We don't. We don't like you guys at all. But that's it kind of reminds me of the same thing. Do you want her back? No,
Right.
No, we don't. We don't. Keep her. He went a little bit further on Jasmine Crockett as well. And this whole press conference, because they were saving TikTok, the meat and potatoes of the TikTok thing is that ByteDance is going to keep hold of a 20% stake. They're not the majority stakeholder. And then the other 80% is going to be divvied up. And Larry, what's his name? Larry Ellison from Oracle is going to get a big stake in it. I know that the underbelly of the internet and conspiracy theorists alike are not going to like that. I'm not a Larry Ellison guy by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't really care at the end of the day too much about TikTok. Whether it stays, whether it goes, it doesn't really bother me. I wouldn't let my kids on it. I can assure you of that. I think that's where I kind of draw the line. Adults do what adults want to do, but I'm not letting my 11-year-old on TikTok. I think that's a terrible idea. But hey, do what you want when it comes to TikTok. But they're gonna keep it 20% stake, and that's what we got. So we also heard, though, with Jasmine Crockett, this is during that same TikTok presser where he said, "Would you take Ilhan Omar back?" He said, "Jasmine Crockett, is she related to Davy?" He said, I don't think so. I don't think she's related to Davy Crockett. He went in a little bit more on her. He was asked about Jasmine Crockett comparing ICE raids to slave patrols.
She compared ICE raids to slave patrol. I want to ask you...
To slave?
To slave patrol. I want to ask you if you think that there should be consequences for members of Congress who make these types of comparisons or use this type of language.
Well, I think she's gone over the line, and I think a lot of the people... Look, the Democrats have become radical left lunatics.
Yep.
They have policies that nobody's going to buy. And, I see what's going on in New York. We're going to have perhaps a communist mayor because...
Yeah, New York is a mess, too. You're going to get what you vote for. Elections have consequences. Jasmine Crockett, though, comparing ICE patrols to ICE to slave patrols is just... This is the kind of rhetoric that's going to get people shot, right? Like, you understand that. And this is the kind of rhetoric that led to what we saw in Dallas on just a couple days ago. What was it? That was on Wednesday, what happened in Dallas? The Dallas shooter left a note bragging that he wanted ICE agents to feel real terror. He had been imagining them wondering if a sniper with armor-piercing rounds was waiting on rooftops. He wants to instill that fear. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that this attack wasn't just an attack of happenstance. This was pre-planned. This guy knew what he was doing. It wasn't done via impulse. Days before the assault, he's looking up videos of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and he's also looking at ballistics info. He was tracking political violence online. We know that he was also tracking ICE agents online. And you can make the argument that mainstream media is to be held a bit accountable for what happened in Dallas as well, along with these politicians and their rhetoric. I mean, this guy, Joshua Jean, he's tracking ICE agents with the apps that CNN was broadcasting on their network saying we're a good thing. So he's tracking them. And then when he gets close enough to send off a few shots, he does. Again, the only ones that were killed were illegal aliens, and we'll continue to pray for the illegal aliens and their families. I mean, they shouldn't have been victims of this. But you can point back to the politicians and say, well, if we were allowed to pick them up inside the jail cells, they wouldn't have been in this much danger. You could probably make that argument. But this is where we're at. Adam Kinzinger, you know him. He was the Republican on the J6 committee. Adam Kinzinger is saying when it comes to the ICE shooter, we shouldn't be looking at is this a left versus right issue.
Listen, the thing that we need to be looking at is not, is this the right, is this the left, is it whatever. It's why are young white males doing this? Why do they feel so disconnected from society that they have to turn to violence? And that's not what the president's talking about. Instead, he's talking about it's the left. And I got to tell you, we're missing the point here.
Oh yeah, it's young white men, not the radical ideology that has been spewed at these kids for the last decade. Not the radical ideology that they're indoctrinated with at their high schools and colleges. Not the radical ideology that is blasted from the mountaintops on mainstream media networks like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC. No. It's young white males. There's only a couple things that you're allowed to really demonize in this country. Have you noticed this? I've noticed this, and correct me if I'm wrong. There's really only two categories that you're just allowed to go at no matter what, and there's no holds backs, and you'll never be punished for it. It's white guys and it's Christians. Do it with any other group. Replace what Adam Kinzinger said with any other group. Backlash. Adam Kinzinger. He got a pardon, right? I think Kinzinger got a pardon for what happened in the J6 committee. I think they all got pardons on the J6 committee. Let me double check that real quick. He should. I think he did get a pardon. Yep. Kinzinger did receive a preemptive pardon. J6, the biggest setup in American history. And we're learning so much more about that. Was it more than 250? About right around 273, 275, depending on the reports. Plainclothed agents were in the crowd. This has been reported now everywhere. The FBI is admitting it. And I go back to videos like this where, you had, if you're watching on the stream, you'll see it. This is security cam footage from January 6th, where you have a MAGA guy in handcuffs, and then police unhandcuff him, and then they take the cuffs off, and then there's a fist bump. We knew that FBI agents were in the crowd. We knew that there was entrapment. We knew. But we were called conspiracy theorists. Yep. That's what we got. During that TikTok press conference yesterday, President Trump also talked about the economy, the tariffs that are being levied. I don't know if you've been paying attention to keeping score at home. There have been more tariffs levied. This time, the tariffs are going to kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products. 30% on upholstered furniture, 50% on the bathroom and kitchen vanity stuff. This was President Trump on Truth Social. He posted this yesterday saying, let me see. We will be imposing a 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products starting on October 1st, 2025. You get away from those tariffs. Well, you go to companies that use products made in America, like my sponsor of this show, Cabinet Makeovers. Everything's Tennessee made. That is a quick way to avoid tariffs. But he said starting October 1st, 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products. Additionally, we'll be charging a 30% tariff on upholstered furniture. The reason for this is the large-scale flooding of these products in the United States by other countries. It is a very unfair practice, but we must protect, for national security and other reasons, our manufacturing process. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That wasn't it. He also added a tariff on heavy trucks. This is President Trump on Truth Social yesterday as well. In order to protect our great heavy truck manufacturers from unfair outside competition, I will be imposing, as of October 1st, 2025, a 25% tariff on all heavy, big trucks made in other parts of the world. Therefore, our great large truck company manufacturers such as Peterbilt, Kenworth, Freightliner, Mack Trucks, and others will be protected from the onslaught of outside interruptions. We need our truckers to be financially healthy and strong for many reasons, but above all else, for national security purposes. Now, you're going to hear cries, right? Oh, the tariffs. This is a tax on the consumer. You're going to hear it. Just get ready. We heard it all before, yet we haven't seen it. And even too late Jerome Powell admitted the other day that the tariffs have not been passed on to consumers, which is a big admission. And I mean, a lot of people say it. You're just taxing the consumer. You're taxing the consumer. It's like, actually, with the tariffs that have been levied so far, the guys in the middle have been picking it up, the importers and the manufacturers.
We're now collecting a good bit of revenue. The government federal government collecting a good chunk of revenue, $300 or $400 billion a year pace. And the question is, who's paying that? And the candidates for paying those tariffs would be the exporter, the foreign exporter, or someone on our shores. It could be a company or a retailer, or someone who's using the imported product to manufacture something, or the end consumer. And so so far, in its incredibly early days, it doesn't look like the overseas exporters are carrying the bulk of it. It looks like it's that middle group. It's retailers and it's importers, and they're not passing along to consumers.
Oh, weird. So everything that the media yelled and cried about was wrong. What does that hat say? What's the hat? Remember that hat that Trump always wears? It says he was something about something. He was right about everything. I think that's the one. I think that's it. So Donald Trump putting these new tariffs into place, but while he's at this press conference, or not really a press conference, he's taking questions inside the Oval Office. He did say that he thinks it's important to distribute some of the tariff money that is coming in to our farmers, making this statement yesterday inside the Oval Office. This is President Trump.
Life and eat and enjoy our lives, right? Eat too much, maybe in some cases, like mine. But I will tell you, we're going to take some of the tariff money, relatively small amount, but a lot for the farmers. And we're going to help the farmers out a little bit, because during this transition period, a period where we're taking in incredible amounts of money, we'll have a little bit of a shortfall with the farmers until the tariffs kick in, because they haven't kicked in for the farmers yet. And I decided before, and I spoke to all of the people here, that I want to make a contribution out of the tariff money, a small percentage of it, but it's a lot for the farmers. It will make the farmers feel very good, just help them through the transition. And ultimately, they're going to be making a fortune. They will be one of the top in the whole world.
I love it. Listen, food security is national security. We do have to protect our farmers. Donald Trump is not missing the point there. But all in all, the economy is good. And what they've been able to do in the 9 months since Joe Biden trashed it for 4 years has been nothing short of amazing. President Trump talking about that a little bit yesterday as well.
And there's no inflation, essentially. There's no inflation. We just went through the worst inflation in the history of our country under sleepy Joe Biden. He was sleeping, and the inflation was really bad, worst ever. They say 48 years, I'll take that too, but I think it was probably the worst inflation we ever had because of spending and energy going through the roof and everything else. By the way, energy's way down. And you're going to really be impressed when you hear what happened today with President Erdogan of Turkey. I think it's great for both countries. I think
inflation's down. Everything's looking good. You know, during the Biden administration, we were always revising numbers down. Job numbers would come in 6 months later, we'd get it revised down. I think it was like over 1 million jobs that they ended up revising down over the course of his administration. We're doing revisions as well during the Trump administration, but it seems like we're just revising the other way. This is what happened to our second quarter GDP numbers.
Now, on the GDP side, this is our third time around the block on Q2, and we see a really solid revision. 3.8%. I'm a bit shocked, to be honest. Usually the revisions as you get to second and third become smaller and smaller.
Oh, what's that? We're almost at 4% GDP, which is one of the targets of the Trump administration as they've been moving forward. What was that thing we said was on the hat? Trump was right about everything? Trump was right about everything. He talked about this yesterday inside the Oval Office, and he made the point. You're going to see it, but Main Street is back under President Trump.
3.88% growth, the biggest in years. And the important thing is the president says this is going to be non-inflationary growth just like it was in his first term. So strong growth, low inflation, real wage gains, And to the question on small business optimism under President Trump last week hit a multi-year high. So small businesses, Main Street is back under President Trump.
I love it. Now, yesterday, as we were kind of closing out the day, I remember that this news broke about all these generals coming to town, and a lot of people were a little bit shook. What? All these generals are coming in? Does this have to do with Russia? The president was asked about it yesterday inside the Oval Office. I'll bring you exactly what he said when we return. It's 11:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Cabinet Makeovers. And if you're looking to redo the kitchen, you got to talk to Dan at Cabinet Makeovers. This is a family-owned company. You can feel it in their work. Everything they do is Tennessee made. Every cabinet, every pullout, every drawer, all wood construction, full extension, soft close glides. The craftsmanship is top-notch, and their team has decades of experience. They've actually been doing this for over 45 years. We had the pullout cabinets installed in my house, and they're unbelievable. No more bending down, reaching to the back of the cabinet for pots and pans. Everything is just so easy to get to. It's easy for me. It's easy for the kids. And the wife absolutely loves it. This is what really makes them special. A well-designed kitchen is going to change your life. It changed mine. And my wife floats around that kitchen now. This is an investment in your home. You need to upgrade the kitchen space. You need to think outside the box. You need to look into pull-out cabinets from Cabinet Makeovers. Now, maybe you need a little bit more than that. They don't just stop at kitchens. They do custom closets, pantries, cabinetry for every room in your house, all built with that same Tennessee pride and the biblical values that guide their company. So do what I did. Talk to Dan at Cabinet Makeovers today. It's going to be the best decision you've ever made. 615-331-7010. 615-331-7010. Or you can go online and see pictures of the beautiful kitchens they've done. CabinetMakeoversTN.com.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
All right, driver, Cedar Hill closed due to a crash. Highway 41A southbound right before Maxey Road. Also in Clarksville, looks like they're about to wrap up that crash there at 24 eastbound, the Sango Road overpass. In Kingston Springs now, Cheatham County, we got a crash blocking the left lane 40 eastbound before Kingston Springs, Ashland City Highway. Exit 188. Governor Lee announcing when the National Guard will be deployed to Memphis. We've got all that for you at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Ham. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us, Super Talk TV. Hey, how are you? YouTube, Rumble, hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We got a lot to get to. Operation Midway Blitz is still going on. It looks, I would say, I don't know, what would you call this? This is a mostly peaceful protest. I would assume if you're watching on the stream, you'll see it. I'm gonna lower the volume because I don't know if they're swearing. It looks mostly peaceful. That looks like the most peaceful tear gas I've seen.
It's just kind of floating in the air there.
That's peaceful tear gas.
Yeah.
Just in case you're keeping score at home.
Everybody's, it looks
they're
like
they're all running away. There's clouds of smoke.
Might be some Antifa in there.
They've been up against it over there in Chicago. This is the same facility where they had to build fences around. They've had protesters trying to blockade the entrance and exit just about every day. I've seen videos of these National Guard troops and ICE agents having to tackle ladies with not my president haircuts, and you know the haircut I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you know. You know exactly what I'm saying. It's like the best description ever. It's like she walked into the barbershop and she said, just chew my stuff up, fam. And they said, say no more.
The barbershop.
They're probably the same people that are upset about all the generals being summoned yesterday for Russia.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to tease. Thank you. I said to Mason before we got in here, I said, remind me what I was about to tease. And he said, you know what he said to me, this guy? He said, I don't listen to your show.
That's a lie.
That's what he said.
No, I said I never listen to your show.
No, that is exactly what you said.
I say I never listen to your show. There's a difference.
You're right. You said I never listen to the show. All right, yeah. So I got squirreled as I was watching these tear gas videos and the arrests of the land whales.
I can't.
So, all right, what's going on with the generals? President Trump was asked about it yesterday. It was a big story. They were nervous, right? It's a bit spooky when we're summoning all the generals from around the world, and we see the rhetoric changing around the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and a lot of people went immediately to, is this World War III? Are we looking at World War III? So President Trump was asked about it yesterday in the Oval Office, and he essentially said, chill. Oh, hang on one second. I got too much audio running in the background. Mason's already going to kill me. I can feel the dirty look. I'm not going to look his way because we got news to get to. But this is President Trump yesterday on the generals arriving in D.C. or in Virginia, Quantico next week.
Secretary Hexer is inviting military leaders from all around the country on Tuesday. Will you also be there?
From all around the country to what?
To Virginia.
He's inviting the generals and admirals to Virginia for a big meeting.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let him be friendly. Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why? Is there something? No, but is there something wrong with it?
Will you be there personally as well? And what is it about?
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
Is it a big story? I mean,
I don't think it is, sir.
I would think it's no, but isn't it a good story? I mean, we're respected from all over the world as a military force.
That's President Trump and J.D. Vance in the Oval Office yesterday. Why is this a big story? It's a good story. This is good news. I love the response. I love how they downplayed it. And when you hear those comments, I don't know, maybe I'm being spoon-fed that propaganda slop, but I hear the tone in their voice, and it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Not the big of a deal that was made out to be yesterday. Only time will tell. It's 11:31. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Again, drivers, Highway 41A southbound is shut down in Montgomery County because of a crash there before Maxey Road. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Governor Lee announcing this morning the National Guard will be deployed to Memphis next week to help local law enforcement combat crime.
I love Memphis. I have known Memphis my whole life. My grandparents lived here. My mom was born and raised here. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, I spent part of my summers in this great city. And I care deeply about the people of Memphis and the city of Memphis. And so do these people that are standing up here behind me and beside me.
Channel 4's Holly Thompson says Lee was standing alongside Memphis Police Department Chief C.J. Davis.
The Memphis Police Chief says they know where crimes are happening and will play a key role in the mission's success. Now, their goal is to make Memphis a safer place for residents and to, quote, make a dent in crime there, not solve every problem.
Lee says the Guard will not be armed initially. New rules for issuing truck driver's licenses by Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy today.
Non-citizens will not be eligible for a CDL unless they meet a much stricter set of rules. Second, all states must immediately pause the issuance of non-domiciled CDLs until they can comply with our new rules.
The crackdown accelerated following that fatal crash in Florida in August involving the illegal alien truck driver who officials said who tried to make a U-turn, and then a family in a smaller sedan was killed. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Why am I so happy and so excited that Jimmy Kimmel lied to his audience?
He had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points.
I'm excited because the liberal and the legacy media have been lying about Republicans for years, and people like this are finally taking notice.
I didn't think much of the death because from what I had heard, Charlie Kirk had been a neo-Nazi who wanted me to be dead. He didn't support my existence and whatnot. And now I'm kind of sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I feel like I had been lied to I really took some time after the thing happened to kind of look into his videos, look into his beliefs, look into his thoughts and who he was as a person. And to me, he seemed like a well-mannered family man. He believed in the country. He believed in the greater good of the country. He had his own political beliefs and opinions. And sure, there's a lot of things that I don't agree with him on, but I never would stand for him dying or being murdered because of his beliefs. And I think I may be starting to lean a lot farther right in response to everything that's taken place.
It's 11:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You remember earlier in the show we were talking about James Comey being arrested? And
just a little bit.
And what were we talking? Yeah, we dabbled. We dabbled in it.
Little elf reference there.
Yes, so that's what I was getting to. That was my favorite part of the show so far. James Comey's 6'8", and I just love the thought of him being in a federal prison because of just what it's like being a tall guy, having to deal with stuff. Like he's going to be hitting his head on the doorways. The bunks are 6'6", so his feet's going to be hanging off. So he said he's going to be like Will Ferrell, an elf, and we chuckled.
He's splashing the water up in the shower because he's too tall.
Yep, exactly. So we chuckled. Aaron, faithful listener, good friend of the show, just all around sweet lady.
Yeah.
She sent me this image on X that we'll now share on the YouTube and Rumble stream. This is James Comey as Will Ferrell in Elf.
Oh, that's good.
It's via Grok.
That's good.
Not all heroes wear capes, and Aaron, you're the real MVP for that.
We need to bring back top commenter of the week.
We do. Meme of the week. That was a good one. All right. Without further ado, it's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. We talk about all the stories that we couldn't get to, stories that might not fill a whole segment, stories that we just didn't have time. Any hot takes, cold takes, you can always jump in on the text line, 615-737-9986. You can jump in the comment section on YouTube and Rumble and more. First story in the lightning round. This is actually from earlier this morning, and it piggybacks on Elf, James Comey. You ready for this?
A little nervous. I don't want anybody piggybacking on Elf James Comey.
Well, we talked about it. If he drops the stope, other inmates will have to get on each other's shoulders. So it's a piggyback reference.
Yep. That's what it is. Can we go back to talking about coins?
It's gonna be awkward in that shower.
Just a little bit.
He's
a little crowded.
He's gonna try and get cleaned up, but he's still gonna be a dirty cop. All right, so C-SPAN. They still host a call-in show on C-SPAN.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. I don't know when they do it, but this clip is making the rounds this morning. Apparently, a Democrat called into C-SPAN.
Oh.
And the Democrat wanted to kind of go full Joe Scarborough and treat James Comey as a martyr, and said Comey did nothing wrong. To which the C-SPAN host fact-checked her live on air.
Let's go.
What we're witnessing is a cultural shift right now, and this is a huge example of that.
David in Maryland, Democratic caller. Hi, David.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me on.
First of all, she didn't have to say Democrat. I could have told you by his voice.
Well, I love how he said, "Hey, how are you?" Anyways, let me talk.
Anyways.
Hi, David.
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me on. I think that, Comey his record speaks for itself. He was a very honorable man who served his country. He did everything by the book. I think he was the prime example of someone you want to direct the FBI. Currently we have Kash Patel, who I think is a complete idiot. He's sick. He's a sick man.
He's sick. Complete idiot. So we're, that's 30 seconds in, no factual information. James Comey can walk on water. Kash Patel is a sicko. You're setting it up pretty good right there, right?
Oh, easily.
I do want to clean something up. So I had one texter earlier tell me that the bunks are 6'6" in federal prison.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Colton Maccabee, J6er, political prisoner, just texted me. And he said that he's 5'6" and hung off the bunk.
Oh, no.
James, he's gonna have a torso on that bunk.
Bending at the knees.
Yeah, you better get used to the fetal position, Jimmy. Sorry. All right, back to the caller on C-SPAN.
In that position and unqualified. And for Trump to go after Comey at this point is very obvious, the trail that led up to this and his feelings about Comey. And the only mistake Comey ever made was getting involved with Trump.
Well, David, how do you respond to this? This is the Associated Press back in 2019. According to Inspector General Watchdog, Comey violated FBI policies in handling of memos. And this is what the Inspector General found. Violated FBI policies in his handling of memos documenting private conversations with President Trump. The Watchdog office said Comey broke bureau rules by giving one memo containing unclassified information to a friend with instructions to share the content with a reporter. Comey also failed to return his memos to the FBI after he was dismissed in May of 2017, retaining copies of some of them in a safe at home, and shared them with his personal lawyers without permission from the FBI. Goes on to say the report is the second in as many years to criticize Comey's actions as FBI director, following a separate Inspector General rebuke for decisions made during the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. It is one of multiple Inspector General investigations undertaken in the last 3 years into the decisions and actions of Comey and other senior FBI leaders. Now, David, you said Comey didn't make any mistakes.
Say something? Yeah. Okay. Well, what I like to say is that's the cost of doing business.
Oh, that's the cost of doing business. What's that? Oh, leaking information is now the cost of the stuff where he didn't do anything wrong. Now doing that wrong is the cost of doing business. It's a quick pivot. You could hear the stutter in his voice too.
Yeah.
She goes,
got to break a couple eggs.
David, yeah, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. David, what do you say?
Eggs.
Say something? Yeah. Okay. Well, what I like to say is...
David's having to think.
I should say something?
David's having to think. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. This one's a little bit of good news. They're calling it the Mississippi Miracle. You ready for this? Mississippi has climbed into the really high place, 9th nationally on the 4th grade reading level. They were in 49th place the last time they ranked these.
What?
Unbelievable. Tennessee has also made a leap into the top 25 for the first time. Consider this the latest chapter of the Mississippi Miracle, which has seen the state climb from 49th in the country to 9th nationally on 4th grade reading. The rise has received a great deal of coverage in the New York Times, New York Post, and yet it still feels as if what's taking place in the Deep South has been grossly understood. First, it's not just Mississippi. Louisiana, Alabama, and Tennessee have adopted the same strategies, stemmed the bleeding affecting states elsewhere, and seen significant improvements. Second, many people who aren't too focused on education policy seem to imagine Mississippi has simply stopped underperforming, that they're now doing about as well as everyone else. This is not true. They haven't just caught up to your state. They are now wildly outperforming it. If you live where I do in Oakland, California, and you cannot afford private education, you should seriously be considering moving to Mississippi for the substantially better public schools. Black students are as likely to be basic or above readers in Mississippi, where the median black household income was $37,900 in 2023, as in national top performer Massachusetts. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
We don't normally do good news, but this is awesome. Find what they did and repeat it. And I love that Tennessee's on the list, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, we're going to be judged based on how our kids are doing and the schools and all that, how we treat the most vulnerable. This is huge. This is huge.
Big news.
I wonder how they're going to spin this as racist.
They're only reading racist books.
That's terrible. I think that was your best Trump ever.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, my goodness.
We might need that as a hotkey. They're only reading racist books.
So funny.
Are you practicing in the mirror at home?
No.
Okay. Got another story right here in the lightning round. Sean Duffy. He had a big meeting this morning, a big press conference, because we're seeing more and more illegal aliens behind the wheels of trucks and more and more Americans dying as a result of it. There's just a horrific video going around, which I'll play for you on the live stream on YouTube and Rumble. Another video of a fatal crash by a non-English truck driver who got his CDL from where? California. If you weren't thinking about moving out of California because of the reading at your kid's school and going to Mississippi, maybe this will add to the reasons to get out. So this is just another horrific video. Secretary Duffy said this incident is horrific and beyond unacceptable. U.S. DOT are prepared to take the necessary measures to crack down on non-citizen truck drivers and restore safety to our roadways. And he posted this yesterday. He said, tune in tomorrow morning for a major announcement on non-domiciled CDLs. I got that announcement for you. And I also have another story where a illegal alien truck driver from India crippled a 5-year-old girl in California. Like, these stories are horrific. They're not going away, and something needs to be done about it. Secretary Duffy understands that, and he made a huge announcement this morning. This is our Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy.
To keep the American people safe, and that requires action today. That's why under President Trump's leadership, we have launched a nationwide audit of non-domiciled CDLs to get to the bottom of what we think is causing this crisis. We've heard from truckers and safety advocates and news reports that something was seriously wrong.
Yep.
It was alleged that the open border policies of the last administration has led to an exploitation of our nation's trucking licensing system. So today, I'm here to tell you after our audit that those reports, they're all true. What our audit has already discovered should anger every single American. So here's what we've learned. We just want to walk through it. First, our audit revealed a systemic breakdown among states to follow the law and issue licenses properly. States are failing to follow even the most basic procedures. We even uncovered widespread procedural errors, computer programming flaws, and a gross lack of oversight in the states that issue CDLs. This means that thousands of licenses that should never have been issued actually were issued. States are issuing licenses that extend months and even years beyond a driver's lawful presence in the U.S. This is a direct incentive to stay in our country illegally beyond their authorized work permit. They have driver's licenses. So in some disturbing cases, they have failed to validate a driver's lawful presence before handing them a commercial license. It's deeply disturbing, but even worse. Our second finding was that the current federal regulations are allowing dangerous, unqualified drivers on American roadways. This means that even when the rules are being followed, dangerous individuals who shouldn't be near a big rig are getting behind the wheel and causing crashes on our roadways. Eligibility requirements are deeply flawed and they're way too broad. They are simply not strong enough to prevent more of these horrific crashes from occurring in America.
So what are they going to do? Well, Secretary Duffy went on to say, you either get in and you comply with the rules that are there now, or we're going to pull funding and force you into compliance. This administration is not messing around. We've seen example after example today of this administration going on offense, and I love to see it. We got a lot more tomorrow as well. No, not tomorrow, Monday. Jeez, it's the weekend already.
It's the weekend already.
This week flew by.
It's been a good week.
You know what we are going to do tomorrow, though? We're going to drop a new episode of Mostly Peaceful with Dan and Chris. We're going to be recording that today. There's a lot to talk about, and I think that's probably where my head was going. But we will have a new episode of Mostly Peaceful hitting YouTube and Rumble tomorrow morning at what time are we going to do it? 6 a.m. We'll drop the
6
episode?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Just wherever podcasts are available, you can listen to it as well on Spotify and Apple. And if you want to watch the podcast, that way you can see the videos. Check out the YouTube channel first thing in the morning. We appreciate you guys always listening to the show. We'll check in with Chad Benson to see what's coming up on the Chad Benson Show next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. October 14th is coming up, and that's the day that means a lot to me, and I know it's going to mean a lot to you. It's not just Charlie Kirk's birthday, but it's also a national day of remembrance. And everybody in the country feels like we need to carry on that legacy. So we're gathering both of my extended families, the Super Talk 99.7 WTN family and the Turning Point USA family, for an evening of honoring Charlie's legacy at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We're going to talk about Charlie's life, his faith, his courage, and the movement that he built. It's a movement rooted in truth, in boldness, and in a belief that faith, family, and freedom are worth fighting for. I've gotten so many messages, emails, texts. Chris, how can I get involved? Well, at Hop Springs on Tuesday, October 14th, we're going to have Turning Point USA chapters and representatives for you to connect with. So on Tuesday, October 14th, join us at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro so we can remember Charlie together. There's more details available at 997WTN.com, or you can scan the QR code on your screen right now, and we hope to see you Tuesday, October 14th from 3 to 8 p.m. at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. God bless you, and God bless America. 11:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Chad Benson's not in studio. Chad Benson's out on location. Where are you, Chad?
At the golf course, as we would be. Greystone, we're here for the Fight MDM, muscular dystrophy golf tournament. So we're just hanging out, having fun. Matt's going to be here a little bit later. Our sister station, the sports guys, are going to be here a little bit later as well. We're just hanging out. Everybody's getting some food. We're getting ready to... I'd like to go out on the golf course later. We'll see. My goal would have been to be on the course doing the show, but apparently I can't do that. Kirby's like, you can't do that. I'm like, whatever.
Well, it looks like today's a good day for it. I mean, I was looking at the weather because we've had baseball canceled for what I feel like is a month because of rain.
Today.
It's gonna be perfect out there.
Yeah, it is it is picturesque too. It's rolling hills. It's all. I mean, I could lose so many balls out here. It'd be fantastic.
I love that you're out there. I love that you're doing it for a good cause. Do you get nervous when you're out on location? I get nervous that I'm going to say something a bit offensive.
Oh yeah, I already warned everybody. So you guys do understand that at some point in time, one of you might want to come over and punch me. Luckily, one of our bodyguards is here, and he's a ginormous man.
I love that we now have bodyguards.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
because it's funny. He said, "I go, oh, you're here for the stations." He goes, "No, I'm just here for you." I said, "Okay, cool. That's cool. I like that."
What's the location of the golf course in case anybody want to come say hi to you and Matt?
Okay, so here's the deal. It's Greystone. It's out here in Dixon, and it's just. I mean, you have to. It's a trip to get here because you get out the freeway, right? And you drive through. It's like you're on your way to Memphis. Next thing you know, you come on out here and you go by a church, and it's down this little thing, and all of a sudden it opens up to this most gorgeous place. And we're going to be here all day long, and I think there's still some flights. You can get out at like 2 o'clock if you want to come out and do some. And you can go to fightdmd.com to find out all the info. But it's Greystone Golf Club right here in Dixon. So get your butt out here. Come hang out with us.
Chad's in next. Have fun out there, man. And we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't forget, new episode of Mostly Peaceful with Dan and Chris drops tomorrow morning on YouTube at 6 a.m. I already said to Mason, what did I say to you in the middle of the break? I said I'm going to do my best to make Dan what?
I am so excited for him to be the most uncomfortable.
Yeah, I said I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make Dan uncomfortable during this podcast. You're going to want to tune in tomorrow morning. It drops 6 a.m. on Super Talk's YouTube page. Chad's in next. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.